Hi.
Hi.
The starting line.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thanks for having me.
So you guys are releasing your first proper album since 2007. So
That's-
what finally brought that on?
Ooh, we. It's a weird, I guess, prompt to say that of. It's okay. This is why I try to get the other guys to do the interviews. It's weird to say this, but we made a switch with management,
Okay.
and this was sort of when we were courting people, or they were courting us, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
When I was speaking to what is our current manager right now, I was of the mind that I was done making starting line records, and to be honest, I thought no one would care. And I sort of selfishly had this own attitude where bands that I liked from our era were putting out new records, and I really didn't like any of them besides like Braid, and no one listened to that Braid record besides me by all accounts. No disrespect, Braid, but I'm just saying, like, it's your best record, and I feel like I'm the only one that's saying that. So we talked to him, and I sort of expressed that to him, saying that I don't know if anyone's going to care. And he just said simply, I think that that's an insecurity thing. And that one line totally flipped a switch in me where I was just like, I'm not insecure. I'm really good at writing music. I'm secure in that.
So he used reverse psychology on you.
100%. And he wasn't even our manager yet. This was just the call to like see if maybe we gelled. And obviously we did, and it really lit a fire under me to get inspired and also prove to myself that I do still have the stuff to do this. And I also want to prove other people wrong too, that anyone thought that our best days were behind us. I want to show people that we're still like meeting the potential of this band.
And what can fans expect from Eternal Youth?
Eternal Youth is, if anyone listened to our most recent record, Direction, I think it's a step down that road. Rather than trying to go back and do some nostalgia baiting of what our first record sounded like, it wasn't all that. And it's not even trying to sound like what the most recent records sound like. We're just trying to think, what is the next step? And also to harness the energy of what we were feeling when we first started this band, when we first just started playing with each other, when making records wasn't about just getting into an album cycle. We really were just trying to collect our best songs and just have the most quality concentrated collection of songs that we could. And as far as the philosophy of making the record, I really didn't want any bells and whistles on it. I also didn't want it to sound like a completely undercooked raw punk rock record. I wanted it to sound like the best parts of what goes into an album like Nevermind or like Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Like if you listen to those records, there's some effects and there's some production tricks or whatever you call them, like tools, like doubling and stuff like that, but nothing goes overboard where they're trying to use technology beyond the point of its benefit. So with that spirit, I was always just trying to scale back overcooking it. I just wanted it to be like a simple meal that had all delicious ingredients that you can actually taste and is not covered by a bunch of other, accoutrement.
I feel like that's a great advertisement for the album. That's excellent.
I hope so. Thanks.
And what inspired Sense of Humor?
Sense of Humor was one of the earlier ones in the songwriting process. And so it was kind of just a standpoint of the tempo and the velocity and the vocal delivery of the vibe that I wanted to set for the rest of the record. And then in terms of subject matter, it's a lot about having confidence in your ability, whether it be whatever, like for me, it's making music, and being in this band for almost 30 years, you have to do a lot of gut checks to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons and that you're not being influenced by just popularity or trends, and also not comparing yourself to every Sam, Dick, and Harry that's on the stage with a microphone. It's about knowing how unique we are, even though we're not perfect, It's about knowing that this is our place in the world of music and no one else can have it. No machine or nobody trying to paint by numbers with what we did in 2002 or beyond will be able to do it as long as we have a pure form of expression.
Well, and you talk about popularity. You guys were name checked twice in Taylor Swift's song Black Dog. So have you had like a surge of like Taylor Swift crossover fans since then checking you out?
No.
No? That's not the answer I was expecting. They're
It's-
so intense. I expected them to be like, who are they? We are fans now too.
They were, for a few days, they were like that.
For a few days. Did you know that was coming, or did it just come out and then you guys got tagged and
I think maybe 48 hours before it hit the streets, we heard a leak.
wow. And are you going to name drop Taylor Swift on your album?
No.
Okay. What was the first song that you guys were like rehearsed together as a band? Do you remember?
Way back in the day?
Yeah.
That we first rehearsed.
Like when you got together as a band and you're like seeing if you could cook.
Well, it was just sort of, when I came in, I wasn't even the bass player yet. The very first practice, we had our buddy Sean playing bass, and they sent me a demo tape of just a couple riffs that they were kicking around, and I think one was even a Mooney song, which was a band that Sean was in before. And Sean went on to, he pretty much quit after that practice, and they told me to bring my bass the next time. We didn't really like jam out on a lot of covers. It was pretty much just trying to throw some riffs around, play along with each other, sing some nonsense into the mic, and it was already just doing that. It sounded leaps and bounds better than a lot of the stuff I was trying before.
Well, that's cool. And I'm asking everybody because we're out here on our inflatable furniture. When you were younger, whose poster did you have on your wall? Like when you would have had one of these inflatable couches,
Yeah.
whose poster did you have on your wall?
I had quite a few posters on my wall. I had like concert posters. So I had like that Coop guy who did a bunch of the famous illustrations for the Golden Voice posters. I had like Descendants, and I still have a Nirvana poster from Spencer's Gifts like framed in my room from when I was childhood.
I love that you remember where it's from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Spencer's, they had all the good posters. Yeah.
And who was your first celebrity crush?
I think it was Mandy Moore.
Oh, good one.
You know, she seemed like a nice gal.
Yeah, and she's like cool too.
She's
Yeah,
kind of
she's
cool, you know.
cool.
She could
She's
act
cool.
like she was understated, you know. Candy, banger.
And I was talking to Ash Malloy before this, and she had a question for you.
Sorry, who has a question?
Ash Malloy, so she's playing here today too.
Oh,
and
nice.
I was talking to her before you, and she said, "What is your favorite song to play live?"
My favorite song to play live is "Are You Alone?" It's maybe a deep cut off of our last record, Direction, but it's kind of a mainstay in the set. No matter how short of a set we have, we'd all just really enjoy playing. It's usually our first sound check song too, just because it's old hat, feels good.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us. I hope you have fun today. I'm going to get you to write a question for the next band we have, and yeah, we're going to have a great time.
Thanks for having me.